When you think about retirement, what words pop into your head? Let me guess. Is it freedom, money, family, relaxation, or travel? When James thought about retirement in his younger years, he pictured himself relaxing by the beach, sipping on his favorite cocktail, and just traveling the world. He imagined his bank account would have at least $1 million in there, just enough to sustain his lifestyle. However, this is not the case. James currently stays in a 2-bedroom apartment with his oldest son, Mark. He actually has more time to spend with his son and 2 granddaughters. But here's the thing, he truly wishes things were different. Unfortunately, a few actions contributed to this, and that's why he's where he is today. Now, James does not want the same situation for his granddaughters, so he decides to have a discussion with them about the value of keeping their personal finance in order and how to benefit from the power of compound interest. Hi, hello, konnichiwa. How's it going, everyone? My name is Chris, and welcome to my channel where we discuss personal finance, investing, wealth management, real estate investing, and all-around self-improvement. For those of you who are new to the channel, you're welcome. I believe the best start for the channel would be to discuss a topic that I'm very passionate about, and that topic is investing. Now, before I ever had the opportunity to work for a big accounting firm or ever invested a single penny, I used to work as a teacher, making just enough to save roughly 25% of my take home. At that point in my life, I felt I wasn't making enough to heavily invest, if only I knew better. However, when I started working with the organization, I got pulled into investing through interactions with individuals that have deep knowledge about the domain. Since then, I've pretty much been heavily invested in it. No pun intended. Even though the markets vary across the world, there are still some fundamental principles that should guide our approach to investing. So I decided to perform extensive research on the topic, discuss with individuals that are more knowledgeable about it, and provide my audience a concise breakdown, essentially an investing for beginners guide. If you have zero knowledge about investing, you have already started your investing journey, or you're a pro at this, you're all welcome. I believe we can all learn from each other, so feel free to share ideas in the comment section. This video is the first part of a 2-part series. The first part is going to focus on personal finance, while the second part is going to be about financial and investment vehicles. Just in case you believe you have the personal finance fundamentals figured out and you're looking to dive straight into the investment piece, I have added a link to the second part of this 2-part series that solely focuses on financial and investment vehicles. However, I do highly suggest you get the fundamentals right before jumping into that video. With all that said and done, let's get right into it. The first item on our list is create multiple sources of income. To be honest, we can actually invest without having income generating outlets. This can be with earned income working for an organization, it can be through freelance work, maybe interest income from a savings account. That's if you can find one that pays you that much. It can also be dividends or capital gains made from selling previous investments like stocks. It can also be rental income from renting out a property you own. It can be from your side gig as a specialist barista over at Starbucks somewhere, or it can be the best dog walker in your neighborhood. It can literally be anything. Whatever the circumstances are, you would need to sell or give something of value to make money that can be invested. Now, this can be your time, your energy, your knowledge, or your skills. For the teenagers out there, start working as early as possible. There's nothing stopping you from developing games at your young age. Now, this will help you start making and saving some money that can be invested. If there's anything that helped me out when I was much younger, it was going and getting practical work experience from internships. I believe this was vital for me to truly understand and appreciate the value of money. This is why I highly suggest everyone start earning good money, especially at a younger age. The second item on our list is monitor your cash flow. For you to better manage your money and have some kept aside to invest, you need to know what exactly is coming in and what exactly is going out. With those figures, you can calculate your net cash flow, essentially the result of subtracting your outflow from your inflow. When you have a positive net cash flow, this will indicate that you've earned more than you spent for that period. While the reverse, which is a negative cash flow, will show that you've spent more money than you've earned for that period. Now, you need to spend at least 3 months meticulously tracking these movements. It will slowly bring to light what exactly is important to you, or what exactly sucks most of your money every single month. For example, you can discover that $400 is being spent on takeout on a monthly basis. I have let's say a friend who had that exact problem. Now, once you start identifying these patterns, it might not be in line with the target of living on a beach house in California that you've set for yourself, or just wanting extra cash to travel the world. So managing and monitoring your monthly spend through a budget would help you understand and put that money to work. It's also important or good practice to group your monthly spends or expenses. Now, this can fall within categories like housing. This grouping can be used for items like mortgage payments, rent, or property taxes. You can also have things like savings and investments, or items like food for takeout, groceries, or when you randomly bought the $100 dessert from a restaurant somewhere. Then items like utilities, health and life insurance. Then debt management, just in case you have college tuition, credit card, or car loans that you're paying off. And then finally, you can also have things like transport for bike rentals or bus transportation. So here's the thing. If you have an easy way of tracking every single thing you buy, maybe in a spreadsheet or in an app every month, and you have a detailed look at this, you sort of start noticing a decline in how you spend your money. That additional layer of consciousness can actually lead to an average of 20 to 25% drop in spending. You would be surprised by the power of tracking your spending. So I personally make use of mint.com to track all expenses that go through my account. It is available in both US and in Canada. I believe it's a great tool and it's completely free. This can be augmented with a spreadsheet you might already have in place. Now, you only need to create an account and link it to your bank account. Now, this process also takes little to no time to set up. You do not need to track your account every day, but if you can, great also. This will help you improve your personal finance. The third item on our list is manage your debt. For some people, debt usually feels like there is no end to it. But here's the thing. The first real step needed to getting out of debt is to actually stop taking on more debt. I truly understand it might not be that easy, but we need to stop piling on more of the same. Debts including credit card debts, student loans, car loans, or even payday loans are all personal debts that we need to be very careful when dealing with. Unlike other types of debt used for investment or running a business, debt of this category is considered a suboptimal form of financing due to its high interest rates. Now, once you're able to truly see what impact or influence debt has on you in terms of lost opportunities and the direct impact it has on the people around you, it becomes important for you to cut off these activities, digging you into more debt. As an example, millennials as a subset are struggling with increasing student loan debt and even increased cost of living. People believe you need a college degree to get a good paying job. However, getting a degree is not cheap either, so you're forced to take on more debt before even joining the workforce. Now, more than half of US and Canadian graduates will take on student debts before leaving college. Student borrowers in the US typically carry an average of $32,000 in student debt, while student borrowers in Canada typically have an average of $28,000 in student debt. Collectively, US student borrowers owe nearly $1.6 trillion according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The sad part of it all is that this student debt over the years will leave a huge impact on the individual because the interest on those can be quite hefty. Now, if you have an outstanding student debt, paying it off should be an important goal for you. Now, this is because you would constantly keep losing money that could otherwise be invested. With that said, adequately make use of the different forms of consumer debt available to you. Do not take on more debt if you need to clear outstanding ones. And by all means, have a very clear plan for addressing the outstanding ones. Simply put, don't go and take up more debt to buy things you don't need, of which, on most occasions, we truly don't need them. For example, renting a really expensive and lavish apartment in downtown Vancouver that is not within a reasonable budget you can afford, or buying the latest gadget that would end up making you pay through your nose for. I do understand that sometimes it's necessary to buy a car to get us from point A to point B, but that doesn't mean the car has to be the latest Bentley Continental GT. Similar to student loan debts, if you have other consumer debts or anything weighing you down, I do suggest or I do advise that you prioritize that. Pay off the high interest debt as soon as possible. You would need to adapt your consumption to your income. It shouldn't be the other way around. Now, basic financial minimalism and applying frugal principles will ensure you do not spend more than you earn. Regarding student debt, as much as possible, do explore the option of online learning in your younger years, as well as other activities that will expose you to different forms of work. This would help you be better prepared for college. It is very difficult to commit to something you'll probably be involved in for the rest of your life without having enough time to understand it and make that decision. I do believe in the power of education and continuous learning. And if you have committed to the option of student loan while in college and even outside of college, I highly suggest that you connect with people already in your field to understand the best path forward for you. Build those relevant connections in school and also outside of school. It will serve you well once you're done. The fourth item on our list is build an emergency fund. Now, current situations have shown the true value of having some emergency funds put away somewhere, even if it's under a rock. Well, not literally, I kid. You can decide to have a fixed amount that is roughly equivalent to 3 to 6 months of your monthly income tucked away. But it should be somewhere you can easily access it. This will definitely come through in those tough and uncertain times. I have seen articles out there that recommend having at least 1 month's worth of your income saved for an emergency. But once again, everyone's situation is very different. It's up to you to determine what seems reasonable and can provide you that level of cushion. Before thinking about investing, have a safety net somewhere. You can wake up tomorrow and not have that high-paying job you once had the previous day. They can be an unexpected car repair, a medical procedure, or any number of financial emergencies. Life is just that unpredictable. For the fifth item on our list, if you don't have one, please get a credit card. Yes, I said it. You need a credit card. Now, credit cards are amazing when used responsibly. They can serve as valuable tools for earning rewards like free travel, discount on purchases from gas stations, or cashback, or even taking care of emergencies or unplanned expenses. But most importantly, building and maintaining credit. By using a credit card responsibly and making your payments on time, you're able to build and maintain an excellent credit score, which will save you money on interest that can be further invested. It's always advisable to start building credit as early as possible. Do not listen to people telling you that credit cards are evil. Admittedly, when the cardholder does not make use of the card responsibly, yes, they can be evil. Now, teenagers and even college students below 18 will usually not get approved for a credit card on their own. However, parents may help their kids avoid this situation by adding them to one of their existing credit cards as an authorized user. Now, the authorized user will then be able to get the credit card benefits without the legal responsibility of owning a credit card. This will help them learn about building good credit. A good credit score is essential for accessing better mortgage rates when purchasing a home, or better car insurance rates, and for obtaining lower interest rates on loans. This can save you a ton of money down the road. Now, the last item on our list is set a savings and investment target. The importance of tracking your cash flow, your income, and your expenses cannot be overstated. You would not be able to adequately cut back and live below your means unless you truly understand how much money you're making, where the money is going to, and what percentage of this is being saved. With this knowledge, you can then set a realistic savings target. Now, most financial planners believe that between 15 and 20% of your annual income is reasonable. Essentially, if your take-home amounts to $4,000 per month, you should consider putting away between $600 and $800 per month. As always, please consider what makes sense for your current financial situation. Your income level must be factored in when deciding on a reasonable amount or a contribution percentage. Now, before you start, ask yourself, how much do I need to invest and save each month in order to achieve my savings and financial goal? Consider putting a system in place to help you achieve your goals. For example, automating the deposits and investments once your pay comes into your account will take the decision out of your hands. Now, it's better to consistently contribute towards this every single month. This consistent approach will help you benefit from the true value and power of compounding. And then over time, you will start to notice that surplus savings you have been putting away. Although the $800 per month appears little at this moment, but with the power of compounding, it will change that little monthly contribution to something significant in some years. At a moderate interest rate of 7%, the monthly contribution of $800 will be up to $1 million in 35 years. I know, insane. Now, setting that target and adequately budgeting and putting a system in place would be key to getting the money into an investment account. This is essentially you deciding to put away money on a monthly basis to pay yourself first, whether it's in your savings account or in your brokerage account. In 30 to 40 years, you will thank yourself for this. Now, even though in the actual sense of it, money cannot buy us happiness, but if we spend it right, it definitely would not make us any unhappier. That is why I decided to share this, so you can have a sense of a possible future and the peace of mind that comes with good financial decisions. Just to avoid making this video any longer than it should be, please check out the second part of this video, where we will be discussing financial and investment vehicles that you can take advantage of to grow and significantly increase your wealth. Thank you for taking our time to watch the video. If you liked the content and found it valuable and would like to see more of it, please hit that like button so the YouTube algorithm can also recommend it to other individuals that might find it helpful. If you have thoughts about the video, please engage me and the community in the comment section. Once again, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can receive other useful content from this channel. Feel free to add me on Instagram and other platforms. Thank you everyone, and till next time, keep putting your future self first.